Hi guys, I thought I'd do the first ever audio little case file for you, and it's the case of 92-year-old Doris Kellet. It was a bitterly cold evening in West Yorkshire on the 17th of January 1990. 92-year-old Doris Kellet was the kind of woman everybody knew. A retired teacher, independent, active and deeply loved in her church community. That evening she returned home from church. She had an exercise class and she was full of energy. She was proud that at her age she was still living alone. Her small terrace house sat almost directly opposite the police station, the safest place you could imagine. But on this night in January, safety would mean nothing. Around 5:45, Doris was seen at her front door talking to two men, one tall and one shorter. Casual clothing was worn. One carried a clipboard. They looked quite official, maybe from a gas company or a survey team. Witnesses thought nothing of it and thought it was even a friendly exchange. But within an hour, Doris would be dead. At around 6:30, Doris's home care nurse, the home help, arrived for a routine visit, as she normally did. But on entering the property, what she found was horrific. Doris lay motionless in the hallway, and her body was surrounded by blood. She had been beaten repeatedly with a blunt object, possibly a heavy household tool, but the object is unknown. The blows were so violent they fractured Doris's skull and left deep gashes across her head and face. Blood splattered across the walls, all over the furniture, and everything else in the house was covered. The furniture was overturned and there were signs of a desperate struggle. But it looked like whoever attacked Doris didn't just want her money. This was rage. It was personal. It seemed panic-fueled. And then, almost out of nowhere, the killer went into a frenzied rage. He then covered Doris's body with a cloth as if trying to hide what he'd done or what they'd done. The house had been ransacked, her pension book was gone, her money was gone, a gold ring was gone, and also missing was a paper weight, which was one of her favourite keepsakes. Beyond that, nothing else had value, and they didn't come for anything else in the house. It looked like the killers had fled before finishing what they came to get. Police were stunned. Doris's home was directly opposite the police station. How could such a brutal attack happen right under their noses? Detectives believe she may have let the killers in, tricked by a fake clipboard and their polite appearance. The two men on the doorstep became key suspects, but they were never identified. There was no fingerprints, no forced entry, and no clear weapon. In 1990, DNA technology was not at the peak or the height that it is today. The investigation stalled and leads dried up. Doris's murder faded into silence. The murder of Doris Kellet changed Yorkshire forever. People locked their doors early. Neighbours stopped answering the knocks at night. Elderly residents who once felt safe in the area now didn't. Over the years, police have renewed appeals for information, but the two mystery men have never been found. And there has been no information to gather who they are, where they are, or who they worked for. Doris's family still hoped that someone somewhere remembers something, and that modern forensic technology might finally bring these two killers, or the killer, to justice. Doris was a 92-year-old, gentle, trusting woman who lived alone and was taken in an act of pure senseless brutality, and it happened just metres from the police station. If you know anything about the murder of Doris, please contact West Yorkshire Police. 35 years have passed and justice still hasn't come. Let's not let Doris be forgotten. Don't let her memory fade. Thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed that short case.